Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Aynesworth at Great Oak High School in Temecula, California. We're going to get started here in Chapter 1, Project Part 2, dealing with how to calculate standard deviation step by step using Excel. Okay, so in class we did it using Desmos. All right, and I showed you guys how to use formulas to calculate all the steps of the standard deviation process, given a set of data, of course. And today I'm going to show you how to use a Google Sheet, which is a spreadsheet program famously known as Excel. Okay, but in the Chrome platform, when you're in your browser, it is called a Google Sheet, which is a spreadsheet, which is a powerful program used in many applications. All right, you're going to love this program after you get good at it. Okay, so let's take a look at this right here. Let's start from the beginning. Let's go to Canvas here and figure out where the projects are. All right, and these are called modules, as you guys know. First module is a resource module, and the second module is your project module. And then we go to Chapter 1, and currently right now we're in Chapter 9. But let's go in through the project module, and let's search for the Chapter 1 project Part 2. Click on that. All right, and all the steps are given right here. You're going to be making 3 submissions here. You have your written work here. And let me see, what you need to do is print this off right here. And I'll put a printable link up there if you're not at home. If you're not in class. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to, given this set of data here of shoe sizes of 30 individuals right here, we're going to calculate the mean and the standard deviation and the variance step by step as you would. And all this can be done in one single step using either Desmos or Excel. However, this project is to do a couple things. Number one, understand what's involved in it, and then understand how to program Excel, which is a skill, which is really valuable in the industry these days, even in education, and then learn how to do it all. So let's go for it here. So let me open up our Google Sheet. So what you do is you grab this hyperlink right here in green. All right, it says download the file to your desktop first and make it your own, or make a copy of it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to copy it here, go to the next tab in our browser, paste it in. All right, select enter, and then this template appears, okay, which is your standard deviation template. And notice that the data is already in there and all the formulas are in there, which is kind of nice. Okay, so I set that up for you. Normally you would have to type all this in yourself, but okay, I was trying to make it a little bit easier for you. Okay, first step is you want to change the title, and you want to make a copy and change the title. So we're going to go down here. We're going to go make a copy. It says copy of. Okay, so this will put it in your own Google Drive. So change the name, take that out, and at the end take out the rest of it and put your name in. Okay, I'm going to put down Mr. Aynesworth. You put down your name. Excel only has one letter or one L, so change that. All right, so put your name in there. Okay, I'm Jeff Aynesworth. Not the greatest typist in the world, but hey, I can teach the concept. All right, so we're going to make a copy here. Now it's in your Google Drive. All right, so I'm going to delete the previous one that I initiated. Okay, there we go. And so notice at the top right up here, notice it has a title with my name. All right, and you need to do that because at the end you're going to share it with me and submit it in Canvas. All right, let's get right into it. And then you'll have your project here. You can fill this out, all the results out later after you are done. Okay, so just put that off to the side. Let's get right into it. All right, so it says right up here, deviation. It says x minus x bar. Well, x is your data, or your data value. So for each one of these and all these cells right here, we need to take the data value and subtract the mean. X bar is your mean. Okay, so obviously we got to calculate the mean first. So down here at the bottom are the 2 steps to find the mean. Mean is just another word for average of data, which means you have to sum them up, okay, and then divide it by the number of data values, which is 30, or we can multiply by 130 as stated in the formula right here. Okay, so we got to sum them up, and to sum them up is easy. You're going to start off every formula with an equal sign. Okay, so type in equals, and believe it or not, in Desmos you use the word total. In Excel we use the word sum. They actually have a sum command. And then use parentheses here, and it's going to ask you what do you want to sum up. Okay, well, it needs the start and end values, and basically what we need to do is we need to tell Excel what range of cells we need to sum up, okay, or add up. Well, the data values start up here in what's called B4. Okay, this cell right here is called B4. It's in column B, row 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag all the way down and highlight the cells that I want to sum up. Remember that summing's at, right? So notice that it says B4 right here, B4 semicolon B33, because the last data value, which is 24.6, is in row 33. So these little rectangles are called cells, and they're designated by the column letter first and then the row number. All right, so I'm going from B4 all the way to B33, and then you hit enter, which is your go button, and it will calculate your sum for you. Okay, so one more time, I'm going to repeat that because we're going to be doing this many times throughout the project. So I'm going to delete this and redo it here. All right, so I'm going to, let me go back. I made a mistake here. Oh, there we go. Let me delete my step. Okay, I'm going to start over. I go equals, okay, sum, parentheses, okay, and then you go all the way up to the top. And our first data value is in B4, okay, the data value start in row 4. Because I got titles in there. So you click and you drag all the way down. You keep your finger on your cursor or on your mouse, and then you let go and you hit the enter button and it calculates it for you, which is 767.6. So I know my sum, and to calculate the mean we got to divide that by 30. So go down here, say equals, all right, you don't type in 767.6, you click on the cell where the data value is located, and then you want to divide that by 30. So go /30 on the keyboard, and note it says divide by 30. You hit enter, and then voila, it calculates the mean for you. So now we know the mean is about 25.6 if you round it, and now we get to do everything else. Okay, so let's calculate everything else. Okie dokie. So we're going to come up here, and we need to calculate all these data values in through here. Well, you got to take each data value, which is located in column B, and subtract the mean. All right, so with every formula, start off with an equal sign, and you come over here and you click on the data value. So you never type in the numbers, okay, because it's dynamic. You want to make sure you just click on the cell and write a formula that you can apply to the whole column in Excel. So you never type in the numbers, okay. So you type on B4 because the data value is located in B4. You want to subtract, so press a minus sign. And then you want to go find the mean. Now the mean is down in column B, down here, and B37. So it's in column B, row 37. So you click on that, and then come up here, and you notice that it says B37, and you hit enter, and that's almost correct. Okay, so let's pause here and talk about this. If you look up here at the very top in the top of the menu here, it says equals B4 minus B37, because the mean is located in B37. Although this is partially correct, what we want to do is make sure the mean stays constant, okay? The mean is located in B37 and always will. Now, if you copy the formula down here, what's going to happen is that B4 is going to change to B5, and B37 is going to change too as well. So watch what happens. I'm going to grab this little square right here, and I'm going to drag it down, not all the way, because I want to show you how to, how this is partially correct, and how there's a little problem here and how we have to adjust it. Okay, so these are not the correct values. So what happens is this. Okay, I've got B4 minus B37 in the first one here. If I go down just one row, you'll notice that the formula changes to B5 minus B38. B37 changed to B38, which is not good because the mean is not located in B38. If you go down here at the bottom, the mean, which is 25.6 roughly, is located in B37. So, and it will always stay there. When you copy formulas, the row numbers change, all right, as you copy the formula down. So to keep it constant, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, we're going to go back to our formula, and which is in our top row. All the formulas are going to be our top row. And I'm going to insert a $sign between the B and the 37 to keep it constant. And you're going to do that in Excel anytime you want something to stay constant. Okay, so now I'm going to hit enter. I get the same value. All right, now my formula is in C4 here, and it's equal to B4 minus B $37, and that's going to keep the mean constant. Now watch what happens now when I copy the formula all the way down. I'm going to get the right values here. Okay, so you just click and drag, and you bring the formula all the way down, and notice that in C4 here, the first, the top of the column here, It says B4 minus B $37. I'm going to go down one row. And then it says B5 minus B $37. Notice B37 doesn't change now. So now it's subtracting the mean. The mean's not going to change because I inserted that dollar sign, but the row number is going to change. And then when I go down here one more, it says B6. Why? Because we got to take the data value B6, which is 25.9, and then subtract the mean. So you got to be very careful here. When something does not change and stays constant, you use the symbol of the dollar sign. So in Excel, that's super important, and you have to understand that. Okay, now the next few is easy. Okay, so the next column in column D is the absolute deviation. Now remember, deviation is just a distance from the mean, and that's why we subtract. X minus X bar is just the distance from the mean, which we call deviation. Okay, now we want to take the absolute value of the deviation, which means we just, all these negative numbers here are going to change to positive because distance is always 0. All right, so this one's easy because you just type in equals and you type in ABS for an absolute value here, parentheses, and then you click on the cell that you want to take the absolute value of, which is right to the left of it, which is in C4. And then you hit enter. So going back to what I just did, I said equals ABS, which is absolute value of C4. I've got my formula written. Okay, now I just copy it down. So you grab this little rectangle in the lower right hand corner. Notice how my cursor changes from a hand to crosshairs, and I just click and drag and I go all the way down and apply it to the entire data set, all the way down to the last value. And notice that it just takes the absolute value. All these negatives turn to positive. Okay, that's the only thing it did. Now the last thing I need to take the square of the deviations. So I got to take all my values in column C and square them. All right, so here we go. So you type in equals, parentheses, you click on C4, all right, parentheses, and then you take it to the second power. So you can go Shift 6, which is your caret, all right, and then type in 2 for the square. Okay, that's one way to do it, and you hit enter. The other way to do it is, I'll do it two ways. You can take C4, so you click on C4, and then use the asterisk, all right, and you click on C4 again. C4 times C4 is C4 squared. And then you'll get the same value. Although I don't do it like that, I'm just showing it that there's multiple ways here. So I'm going to backspace and repeat myself here. I'm going to take C4 and just take it to the second power. So I go Shift 6 into the second power, hit enter, and notice I get the same value. Okay, and by the way, you just saw me do the same thing not using parentheses. So because it's a single value, you may do that. If you have more than one value, well, you're probably going to have to use parentheses. Now I need to apply the formula all the way down. So when you do this, when you copy the formula to an entire column, you just grab this little rectangle here and just drag it down. That's all you do. It's actually fairly simple. Okay? And then you let go of the cursor, and then it applies all the squares. So column E is just the square of column C. That's it. Okay, so now that we have our data in here, now we got to finish the project. Okay, so here we go. Deviation sum. Now sum means add, so you got to add up all these deviations. Okay, and the deviations are right up here in column C, so you got to add up all these numbers. Okay, so we're going to use the sum command. Now the deviation sum should be equal to 0 in any set of data, so we better get 0 here. So equals sum, all right, parentheses here, you're going to go up to the data set. All right, we're going to click and drag, and we're going to highlight the data set from C4 all the way down. Now from C4 to C33, hit the enter button, and voila, look at that, we get a deviation sum of 0. Now if you look up on the address bar, my data is from C4 to C33. That's called a range right here, okay? And the range of values start at C4 and go down to C33 because we're located in column C. They start in row 4 and go down to row 33. And we're summing them up, which means we simply add them up. And then when that happens, the deviation sum should always be 0. All right? When we take that and we divide it by 30, and look at the formula here. We got to take your deviation sum and multiply it by your fraction 1/30th. All right? So let's do that. So we're going to take equals, and we go up here and we take our result above, which is located in C35, and we multiply it by 1/30th. All right, so times 1/30. divided by 30. Or you can say just divided by 30, because multiplying by 1/30 is the same thing as dividing it by 30. You hit enter, and it better be 0, because 0 divided by 30 is 0. Okay, next one here, the absolute deviation sum. So we got to add up all these numbers here in column D now. Very simple, same command, equals sum. Okay, I got to type the right letters here. I'm not the greatest typist. So equals sum. All right, and then we go up in column D, all right, from D4 all the way to D34. So just click and drag, or you can just type it in if you want. Not D34, but D33. All right, and then boom. There you go. So on this one here, let's just double check. So D4 to D33 is our range. We're summing them up, which means we add them up, and we get 43.8. Now to get the mean, you got to divide that by 30, because you got 30 data values. So go down here, you type in equals. Okay, hang on here. Let me start over. So type in equals. Okay, and then you click on your D35 where the data value is located. And if you multiply by 1/30, you divide it by 30. So divide it by 30, hit enter, and you should get about 1.46. Okay. Then to get the squared deviation sum, you got to add up all the square deviations in column E now. So once again, you go equals sum. I'm not the greatest typist. Sorry about that. My fingers don't go in the right spot. And then you go up here at the top of the column. Okay, put your cursor in the middle, click and drag down, or you can simply type the correct letters and values. All right, which is called the range. All right, and you hit enter, and your square deviation sum should be about 96.19. Okay, we're almost done. And then to get the variance, if you compare the formulas here, you got it. If these formulas here are almost the same, the variance though is you got to take the square deviation sum and multiply it by this fraction 1/30, which means you divide it by 30. So to get the variance, it equals the square deviation sum, which is located in E35, and you want to divide it by 30, and we get about 3.206 roughly. And then if you look at the variance and the standard deviation, to get from variance to standard deviation, you got to square root your variance. Okay, we talked about that in section 2 or 3 or something like that in chapter 1. All right, so to calculate your standard deviation, which is your last step, we go as equals, and then square root in as an abbreviation in not Desmos, but Excel is SQ for square root. And notice that you always give you suggestions right here, because it predicts what you're going to do. I mean, there's a lot of commands within Excel, and it gives you suggestions of what you need. And obviously SQRT stands for square root. So I type in RT parentheses, because it needs to know what the value is. So you click on the value that you want to square root, which is located in E37. So type in E37 or click on it, all right, and then hit enter, and you get your last result, which is 1.79 roughly for your standard deviation. All right. Now when we did this with Desmos, okay, let me pull up Desmos here. All right, I'm going to go find the project here. So when we did this with Desmos, we also calculated the standard deviation here, which was 1.79. So these are the results from the project in Desmos that we worked together on in class. Okay, and I showed you guys how to program it within Desmos, and notice that the standard deviation is 1.7906. All right, so this corresponds with your other method using Desmos, and the results are the same because we're given the same set of data. But I just showed you how to do it in Excel. All right, get proficient in both, and we'll have many Excel projects throughout the year. This program here is amazing, and it's a great application of standard deviation. All right, Mr. Aynesworth here. Hopefully that helped you out. This is a video, obviously, so you could just go slow, pause and play, rewind as you need it, and learn how to use Excel to do a variety of things. Okay, and I'll see you in my next lesson. Take care. Bye-bye.